Oh, I did a photo rep instead of wait a minute, no.
Some good
No.
pictures.
Okay, here it is. It's running. Alright, perfect. Okay, this 6+1 video is with Bailey Pressridge. She's an intervention teacher working DI programs for intervention students. And welcome, Bailey.
Thank you.
Welcome to the 6+1 protocol. We're going to go through the steps of the protocol today
Okay.
in a more formal manner. And I want to introduce to you first, before we go into the actual 6+1 conversation, a big part of the framework that has to do with teacher career pathways and development, and how an idea we use the GET rubric to get teachers to mastery type of proficiency, the Guidepost for Excellent Teaching rubric. And it is from this rubric that we take out different strands to develop teachers to become the master teacher.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll be going over that. I know that we've done a couple of feedback sessions before, and we work on a couple of areas which you've done very well with. And those areas, so that you know, come from the actual rubric itself, and it's part of your development. But I want you to have a picture of what it looks like moving forward.
Okay.
And what this looks forward in your case is where we grab a strand, and the one that I've been working with you in the past is Guidepost number 4, so level 4, lesson delivery, instructional clarity. And the last couple of times that I give you feedback around 4.A, it was the last time with what's called various delivery methods, which is 4A4, and it had to do with using research-based tools and presentation techniques to ensure that 90% of the students gain clarity of concepts. More specifically, what I did with you with the last observation feedback was asking you about previewing those words that were not part of the scripts,
Yes.
and you did a great job of creating a word wall that I took a picture of. And I want to show you what I think was great about the word wall that you created. Even though we did speak about the fact that we needed to have students introduced to these words, you took it a step further, and you created these great word walls that have also graphic representations, which allow particularly our intervention kids and ELL students to better understand and grasp the words.
Yeah.
So they have it there as a reference. They have the graphic image that really helps them a whole lot. So I want to praise you for that.
Thank you.
I thought that was a great job, and that's going to help our kids a whole lot.
Yeah.
Okay, and in this column 4A, various delivery methods, you're already hitting between this proficient and advanced levels because of the fact of how you're utilizing this research-based tools. And what we do is we take different strands and provide feedback. I come back and I check, I measure against the rubric, I look for the criteriums, and if you're meeting the criterion, then I just check mark like proficient, advanced, exceptional, and we keep moving from one to the other,
Okay.
and you keep developing.
That sounds great.
Sounds cool, right? All right. So this time, specifically, we're going to look at 4A2, which has to do with pacing. All right, and I'm going to go over what I saw during the lesson with the students who were there, what I saw you doing as well. I'm going to ask you some questions about, how you feel about certain things and how they were going to get some feedback from you. Then identify some action steps, practice a little bit around the action step, and then set up the follow-up conversation.
Okay.
All right. Very good. All right, so I'm looking at the students when I walk into the classroom. This is my low inference data. I'm seeing 10 students. 100% of those students are tracking the teacher. They're answering their mastery test 4 questions. The class was silent. They were engaged. They were thinking. It was a great class. I mean, and I think it's working better now that we have them in one classroom by themselves. They don't have another group. I think that's helping as well. I noticed that 100% of the students passed that mastery test 4. Scores were between 94 and 100. When I look closer, I noticed that your 2 lowest performing students had 94, which is great, right? But I also noticed that their lowest performing students, which I believe were Brian and Alexis, were the same ones that seemed to take more processing time during the mastery test. And these are the students who perhaps the two have been driving you to provide a group with extra think time, which I think is my hypothesis as to what's one area where we can accelerate a little bit. And I think it's because of those students that you're spending a little bit extra time during think time during the part of the mastery test portion.
Yes.
And this is what I did. I timed it, and you're saying things like the word is identification, as in identifying whatever. You provide the context, and then 25 seconds went by. They answered, and I noticed that 8 kids were pretty much within 10 seconds on the ball.
Ready.
Yeah, ready. But then those 2 kids were the ones holding you back. So I want to hear from you. If you agree with what I'm saying, if you have any other context for me around why we think this is so, And I want to hear from your part, your kind of like your analysis, right? Breaking down
Yeah.
how we can perhaps accelerate the group, but at the same time make sure that the kids who are having the small lag time, what we can do for them as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brian and Alexis are definitely the two in this B2 high class that take the longest on really anything, like answering the question out loud, their mastery tests, their independent practice every day. It typically just takes them a little bit longer. And so sometimes we struggle as a group with most of the kids being ready to move on, and we want to push to be moving really fast in this group. And then those two students who are kind of holding us back sometimes. And Brian, particularly on his first mastery test, failed, but with more processing time, did better. And so I've struggled with, do I give the whole group the same processing time that I give Alexis and Brian, or do we move on since most of the group is ready and have those two students possibly do worse? I'm not really sure. So I think we could move them faster and see, kind of monitor if they can keep up, especially since we're a couple months into school. They might be able to keep up if we moved a little faster.
Just a little bit faster. I tend to agree. That even so, they had a 94, which is great. They passed. So it seems like they're getting the right answers. The issue now is like how quickly can they get the
Can
answer.
they move faster? Yeah.
And I think that's a development phase for them. Do you do any like support for them, like beyond what's happening in the class itself?
So Brian and I have met almost after every mastery test just to review it before I grade it, to give him a little bit of extra time if he needs to go back and recheck his answers, especially since it's an oral administration. Sometimes he'll need to hear the word like one or two more times just to make sure he hears the vowel sounds. So we've met at lunch a couple times. And Alexis, he has special pullouts with speech to help him with his verbal issues, because he's super bright verbally, though he struggles sometimes with like his verbal responses, more so than his written. So a lot with Brian, a little less with Alexis.
Okay. So I see, from what I hear you saying, is that there's already a level of support for the two students that's happening, and that may be having a great impact on their ability to keep up and do well. So right now what we want to develop is that kind of like speed and stamina, right? To be able to like take tests at a certain speed without perhaps falling behind. Okay. So I think that's something that they need to keep following up. That's an action step they need to keep working on, like supporting them like beyond the class. So we want to go ahead then and focus particularly as it pertains to this trend for you, I guess, working around the pacing then of the group, the rest of the group. Because I know you'll take care of the individual students during the reteach, reassess, and other supports area. So for the purposes of the development, we're going to look at lessonary pacing, and we'll talk some more about that.
Okay.
All right. That sounds great for the rest of the support part. All right. So looking at efficiency, which is what we're looking at right now, is when you were teaching the rest of the lesson, you're blazing through the script. I mean, the script was really fast. There was no extra teacher talk. Like your economy of language was very good. I mean, the use of your time during like direct teach was on point, which guides us back to like the mastery test 4 part and the issue with the processing time, which is what we're going to hone in. So what I want to do now is, now that I think that we have a meeting of the minds about cutting down the think time and then monitoring the student performance to see how well that works, would be to look at mastery test number 5, see what it looks like, and for you to give me an idea of what that may look like when you're giving it this time again, and how you're going to push a little bit in terms of the timing for it.
Okay.
So you have mastery test 5 over here
Yes.
that we can look at. Alright, so is it similar to the one that we had the last time?
It's basically the exact same test, but just with new words. Sometimes a little more difficult words.
So the same format then?
Yes.
Okay. So what I noticed when I looked at you the last time was that you were taking about 25 seconds between like giving them the word, the context, the checking for understanding, and then the think time, which was 25 seconds. So we're going to try maybe doing 15
Yeah.
and see how that works.
And see what I
And how-
can
see how that
especially
feels?
monitor like with the first question. If most of them have it in 15, then
Okay.
it should be fine.
Yeah, and the thing with DI in this particular context or this particular group is the fact that we have students who are very firm, who are very intelligent, who are doing great, but even because they're intervention students, we want them to be even higher, so we need to push them. Okay, so let me know when you're
Okay. So I'll start with item A. The word is permission. What word? Permission. We have permission to go there. Write the number for permission. Item B. The word is sometimes. What word? Sometimes. I visit him sometimes. Write the number for sometimes. Item C. The word is security. What word? Security. Keep the lights on for the security. Write the number for security. Item D. The word is location. What word? Location. They moved to a different location. Write the number for location.
I'll start with 66.
Okay.
How did that feel?
I think they can do it.
I think we can do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt. When I was thinking about cutting down the time and I'm counting the seconds. I first I felt maybe it's not enough now, but then I waited and I counted the seconds. I think we can.
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable amount of
I think
time.
a reasonable amount of time. So we did 4 or 5 words. We did 4, I think. Yeah?
Yeah.
We did 4 in a minute, and when we did it for mastery test 4, it took us 2 minutes versus 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now it may not seem like a lot, but this is something that if we can do this, right, and get our kids to do it within that time frame, then you add them back to your lesson about 12 minutes a day.
Which would be
Another day, but when you have mastery tests, for example,
Mm-hmm.
or even when you have exercises like this here, where, I think that initially the extra think time was huge for students to comprehend, like going back to August or September when we first got them,
Yeah.
and even for the good students, because they're already beginning to get used to the framework.
Mm-hmm.
But now at this stage of the game, I think that even Brian and Alexis, if we push them a little bit higher, it's going to allow us to cut time pretty much
Yeah.
in different areas. So, we.
I definitely think it's possible. I think in Mastery Test 5, since it's the same format, we won't have to go over what kind of test it is or anything like that,
Mhm.
so I think they'll be able to jump on it really fast.
And what this will do, when I come back to your classroom and I observe you, based on the guideposts that we're looking at, to rate for proficiency and so on, then you want to look at advanced what it looks like. So it says, basis lesson appropriately advances the length and amount of content appropriate for student age and ability. The emphasis is placed less on teacher talk time. Many students are given opportunities to do input, which may not necessarily be
On a test,
the
we can
case
rate
here,
it.
but we're looking at length and amount of content appropriate for student age and ability. So their ability to do it within less time is something they can push when they do it without teacher the class.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think that you can get it done in a jiffy, pretty much. And these guideposts, strands that we work on, take a week, take 3 weeks. I think that since you're in my portfolio, I get to see you every week.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can hit this like the next time and then move on to another strand
Yeah,
and keep pushing for advance in these different strands. I think that's good.
that sounds good.
Okay. And then we just look at the end of the year for you. So when we do the teacher evaluation, we go back like on my teach boost, black and white the written forms.
Mm-hmm.
You'll start seeing like proficiency levels notated in
Oh,
writing.
okay.
You'll see like proficient, advanced. You'll see it in the documents themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a record of how you're progressing throughout the school year. So then at the end of the school year, we review it back, and then your rating comes from that
From
year that
that.
you've been
Oh,
going through
okay.
through the year. And you know how you're building up. You know how you grow
Mm-hmm.
throughout the year. So you get to a good sense of where you stand,
Yeah.
rather
like
than I wonder how am I doing this year compared with other teachers.
That sounds good.
Alright. So I'm thinking like, when do you think or when do you know that mastery test 5 is going to be taking place? Looking at the pace that we have.
We're averaging about 1.5 to 2 lessons now in that class a day. So yeah, we're moving really fast. So we did lesson 42 today. So the next 3 to 4 days, I would guess probably
Okay.
4 days.
Do you want to perhaps send me like an email the
When
day
it's
before?
coming. Yeah,
It's
I can do
coming.
that.
Because I look specifically at the same format, which is the one that we practice,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can come back and rate you based on our conversation, and you know what the expectation is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'll be great. I think that'll definitely be great. So let's do that. Because I cannot pinpoint the exact date just now. You will go ahead and email me the day before,
Yes.
or 2 days before when you know it's coming up, and then I'll be there for that.
Okay.
So I'll make sure I'm texting you for the at the same time. Alright? And yeah, I think that's a great plan. We look at data before. Let me pull data sheets just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Just to go over it very briefly. Because I know that we have our data conversation with Nifty every week,
Mhm.
and there's only one thing that I have for you from this week's conversation. Just sort of with a form. So I'm talking with Nifty this last week. Everything, the data is well recorded and everything.
Mhm.
But they want us to be using the forms that have the B2 already here
Oh, okay.
versus you writing it up.
Mhm.
And then you don't have to write the numbers there. And what I was told is that for you to find the same place where you found this form from, if you make the screen smaller, you'll see some tabs in the bottom.
Mhm.
And then from the tabs you can pull out the one that's for B2.
Okay.
If you don't find it, let me know.
No, I can definitely do that. I just data's due today, and all of
So
mine are on the.
So let's do it. We'll do it for the next one.
Okay, I
Okay?
can do
'Cause I
that.
don't want to have
Yeah,
for you to
that
go
would
back and
be
redo
tough.
data. But then we'll do it for the next one.
Okay.
And that's just, really piece of feedback that I got from them. Your progress is good. Your kids are doing great. So we just keep working on the strands to the rubric to get you those advanced and exceptional columns. And after you become a master teacher, then you can become.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
Vale.
Thank
All
you.
right. And I just want to brief quickly with you about the protocol itself. I mean, I'm still recording, but I just want to get some feedback from you. How does the protocol feel?
I think it feels great. It's really similar to what we do at YesPrep. So
Okay.
all of our observations are based on the rubric, which I think is really helpful because then you can kind of coach yourself too. Like, I know I'm here. If I want to be here, I
This is
can
what I
look
need to do.
specifically and kind of figure it out on my own. So that way it's not just based on like the
Oh.
days that you see me, but all the days that I am, with my students. I can kind of more
Got it.
clearly reference like where I
Mhm.
am and where I could be.
And I know at the beginning of the year, you guys were trained on this. Did you get a copy of the rubric?
I do have it. Yes.
Okay. So you can pull it up. So that way when I tell you we're working on 4A,
Mhm.
2, then you can even look at exceptional and what are some of the things that you may pull up from there.
Yeah.
And if I just show up and I see it when I'm looking for you to move to advanced, then I see it there again. So
Mhm.
you're waiting over again. If you're doing it, I'm on to the report.
Yeah, that's good.
Right, awesome. Well, thanks again, Bailey, for this. I
Thank
thought
you.
that was awesome. Thank you guys. And
Mhm.
again, Coaching Conversation 601 with Bailey Pressridge, intervention teacher here at IDL Academy, and Robert Acosta.